Hello ladies, welcome to my channel. In today's video, let's talk about poise and dating. Single poise ladies, I have some wonderful news for you. As you work on polishing your poise, you are more likely to attract a man who values the same things in life. When you dress beautifully, behave graciously, and exude class wherever you go, people will notice. You will be intriguing to those who also care about these things. With your excellent manners and your grace, you will automatically weed out all of the potential suitors who are, well, not suitable. Most women want a kind-hearted man with honesty and integrity who will treat them well. We want a partner to go through life with us who shares our values and is on the same page. It is said that when two people are dating, they are presenting their best selves. Often, after the honeymoon phase is over, one's true self comes out. Well, when you are in the dating phase, you will be presenting your true self because your true self will be the lovely, poised, elegant person that you are. So I think it's pretty safe to say, if you are getting yourself into a dating situation, that it is so important to present your authentic self. I heard this quote once upon a time, and it said something like, between the 5th and the 7th date, you have only met that person's representative. Up to that point, you haven't actually met the true them. And since I heard it from my experience, most of the time, I've found that to be true. The thing is that we try to show somebody all of our best qualities when we're trying to win them over. And equally, even though someone's not trying to be fake, they end up showing you the version that they want you to see, not who they truly are. And so I think it's really important to present an authentic self as soon as possible, even though it is going to take some time for the true you to shine through. Let's be real, we're not going to start rattling off all of our future children's names. We're not going to say maybe the crazy thing that we did in our last relationship on the first date, or I hope not, at least. But it is important to try and show your authentic self as soon as possible. Ladies, I've been there, I've done it. But let's try and dress alluring, but ensure that it's still tasteful at the same time. Now, beauty is definitely in the eye of the beholder, but if you are looking to attract someone high value or someone that at least has the same values as you do, I'm assuming the fact that you're watching this video means that you are wanting to find a high caliber person to be in a relationship with. And that doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to be rich. That doesn't mean that they're going to just have designer things. That doesn't mean it's going to be a certain type of person. But my husband's a good guy. And he is somebody that I feel like a lot of people would just say you're average guy. And I think that I'm the average girl. I think that we both, have aspirations and goals. But if even my husband, who is somebody who I think is just the average man on this planet, and he comes home whenever he goes out with his friends and he's like, I cannot believe the way that ladies are dressing these days. It's like an epidemic. And once upon a time, I used to not dress as modestly either, but now looking in on that situation, I can see that I was just attracting all of the wrong things when I did dress like that, especially on dates. The next thing that you're going to want to do if you are looking at dating with poise in 2022 is to have interesting things to say. There's nothing more boring than getting on the date and feeling like, one person has to carry the conversation. So I'm not saying that you need to have, every sports numbers. Can you tell I don't watch sports? I don't watch sports, but I think that understanding what is currently going on in the world, or there's even obscure things. Like one of the YouTube channels that I watch, I think it's called Real Stories or Real Life, and they are constantly covering the most obscure topics, and it promotes and provokes such great conversation. And I think that is something that is like heavily missing from today's society, is that people talk about the reality TV shows, or they talk about what's going on in pop culture, but it's so surface level. So ensure that you have something interesting to talk about if you're looking to date with poise. Now, I feel like I might get taken to the stake for this, but maybe not, because if you're watching this video, I feel like you will align with these things too. But hear me out. If he wants to pay, graciously accept. As simple as that. I talked about this in a previous video where I was saying how if you look at being poised, when people get given a compliment or there's someone that is wanting to bless somebody with a compliment or a gift, that you should graciously accept and not be like, oh no, you didn't have to do that, and make this grand big like scene out of it. If a man is offering to pay, graciously accept. You don't need to try and prove anything. I think that it's a way that a man can, I don't know, show his kindness in that situation. Equally, if I brought my husband a little gift, I would be a little offended if I go to give him this gift and he caused a scene and was like, oh no, you shouldn't have, and I can really get a gift myself. Like it's quite bizarre to see how I feel like through trying to prove something, we've almost disrespected the gift and the gesture itself these days. I don't know who needs to hear this, but if it's you, raise your hand. No one else is gonna see. But we don't need to share our whole dating story on the first few dates. My husband is still finding out things about me, and I'm still finding things about him and his previous dating history now, because there was no need for us to go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. He's a good man, I'm a good woman, and there's no need for those itty-gritty details. They shouldn't matter. They shouldn't matter if you are looking at forging a new relationship with somebody. Of course, there's going to be elements that do matter, but I don't think that every detail actually is necessary to tell to this new person. Are you someone who drinks? Do you end up drinking too much? If this is something that you are finding challenging, then maybe if you're looking at dating with poise, this is something that you should refrain from on a date. Equally, if this is something that is going to make you express a lot of emotion and maybe get a little bit too emotional, maybe a little bit too clingy, maybe start to have a cry about your last relationship, this is something that you should refrain from. I think that it's very easy to let the emotions run away with you at a date. And also, if you are this person, because so many people do it, I see it almost every day, where someone goes on a date and say the date goes well, and then they've got to put up a story on Instagram and it's like, going home smiling tonight, ... Ooh, it makes me cringe. It makes me cringe. We don't need to do that, because I find the people that do that are the same people that when it doesn't go well, they're like, oh, like I can't even think of it. It's making me like squirm, but like they're like, oh, there'll be better days, ... And it just, we don't need to be so emotionally driven to share everything online. I think maybe when you're younger, you can excuse it, but posting that online or sharing, I find there's even people who get a little bit too emotional and a little bit too invested too early on, like by date one, and it can often scare people away, and it doesn't seem very poised, because I find poised people are people that they're a little bit mysterious, you know? They don't share it all. They don't give it all away. So see if that's something that you can implement into the next date that you go on. Now, if you've been seeing some of my other videos over this month of January, you know that we've been covering the book Polish Your Poise with Madame Chic. And one of the things that she says in this book is that just as you would savor a delicious feast, savor your romance and how it unfolds. So don't rush. That's one of the things that I feel like my current relationship, it was a thing that ended up happening that allowed the relationship to thrive and grow in a healthy manner. I was in Canada, my now husband was still here, and obviously because of the distance, it made us savor and go slowly and get to know each other on a more level-headed basis. And no one was getting love bombed because of that distance and because of the time change. And I think it was one of the best things for us, because I think when we get into these relationships, we can't get enough of that person, and then we don't savor that new feeling, that new rush. And I just absolutely loved that quote when I read it in this book. I think ultimately, if you are somebody that you know your worth and you know what you're looking for, you're not going to be somebody that is going to play games. And I think for me, that was the biggest game changer when it came to me dating with poise and dating in a more high caliber manner. What about you? Are you single? Are you in a relationship? How did you make the jump from maybe not dating in a poised way to dating in a poised and high caliber way? I would love to know what your biggest takeaways on that journey was in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you will subscribe so you can see one of the last videos in this series, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.